To my channel, Coin Lady, and thank you for returning. Let's go into the topic of XRP. Also, if you're new to crypto, you might recall that a few years ago, everyone was predicting that the JP Morgan currency will dethrone XRP. Eventually, we learned that this prediction was false. The thread that smoke started about the connections between JP Morgan and Ripple was excellent. It is our hope that JP Morgan Coin, Wells Fargo Coin, BAML Coin, HSBC Coin, or any other cryptocurrency can interact with XRP through our three Corda networks. We will support XRP as the first settlement mechanism and deploy the Corda settler, which is agnostic to the payment method. No stake in that race exists for us. Regardless of direction, we do not have any financial initiatives. You can now examine the potential interaction between XRP and JP Morgan currency. Ripple's board of directors includes Sandy O'Connor, who is the top regulatory affairs officer at JP Morgan. I believe that JP Morgan sought to slow down Ripple, which is why the Ripple versus SEC case even began. There are so many ties between the two companies. I believe they made an effort to find a substitute. They choose to collaborate with Ripple instead after it failed. Just one decentralized ledger technology, DLT, startup, Ripple, and one representative from JP Morgan make up the US Federal Reserve Faster Payments Task Force. Can you perceive the interconnectedness of everything? As of May 17, 2017, the sole decentralized ledger technology, DLT, business associated with the US Federal Reserve's Speedier Payment Task Force is Ripple. But Ripple is clearly making every effort to establish itself as the go-to payment solution. A number of financial institutions are named as representatives, including IBM, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan. Additionally, Ripple's connections to IBM are well known. Ripple is interconnected with major financial institutions such as Goldman Sachs, Citi, Barclays, and BNY Mellon. Additionally, the company has established connections in every country internationally. Why can't people see that? Let XRP be your future. Using technical documentation, JP Morgan can connect to Ripple's on demand and provide liquidity. Once again, the connections are clear. In the era of CBDCs, JP Morgan recognized Ripple as a formidable player. Also on the agenda are the Ripple industry heavyweights, MTech. Hedera is collaborating with MTech. Because I hear people constantly claiming they will never let Ripple collaborate with these banks, I felt compelled to bring their attention to the fact that they are the titans of the CBDC era. We have the paperwork to verify that Ripple's is already secretly working with these banks. We don't know of any non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, yet, but we'll know when the Ripple vs. SEC case concludes and the financial institutions that worked with Ripple make their announcements. To make ends meet, the majority of individuals work two jobs, and many of those occupations pay cash. I think this is a good concept, but I have a feeling the IRS is not on board with it. However, moving forward, we will need to observe the outcome. This was sent by Mr. Mann. Everyone here knows the ins and outs of rebranding in the cryptocurrency industry, not just me. While some may claim Liquidity Hub has died, that is a fallacy for individuals who do not get wordplay. For the time being, let us concentrate on stepping into the actual world. In order for high-value players to step in, rebranding needs to happen. When everyone else said the Liquidity Hub was dead, Brad was just pointing out that it hadn't taken off at Ripple like they had hoped. In my opinion, the Ripple vs. SEC case was also heavily involved. Still, I predict that Liquidity Hub will have a renaissance in the near future. Naturally, things are also being renamed. The concept of a liquidity center is vague and poorly understood. As an example, the next generation of the same product, Medico-Policine Standard Trust, is referred to as the Ripple Custody Solution, but they need to give it a different name. Custody is also expected to grow in importance in the future. Imagine these networks receiving all those tokenized valuables.
I already mentioned that they would like you not to know the truth. Every day, this should be making headlines in the mainstream media, yet no one is interested in discussing it. It was widely believed that the US dollar was about to collapse. But as I mentioned before, consider the other nations whose currencies are pegged to the US dollar. Times of New York, it is critical to comprehend the origins of the $29 trillion debt in order to comprehend the new nation space. The global financial system was able to expand itself thanks to the US dollar, an elastic currency, which drove demand without matching production. As a result of the magic of contemporary finance, the United States liabilities turned into reserve assets in global banking, and those reserves were multiplied by 10, 20, or even 30 times. We arrive at a figure like $29 trillion in debt in this way. The world's poorest nations are burdened by an infinite ocean of debt, which is a true and tragic consequence. Drug peddlers and other peddlers deserve the same level of disdain. A lot of people fail to realize that the United States is only going to feel the effects of a dollar collapse if other countries linked to it begin to collapse. People were under the impression that the petrodollar negotiations were coming to an end. Dollars were demonetized. First it will travel someplace else, and then it will return home. Now that earnings have increased at a faster rate than prices, Janet Yellen, everyone in the United States benefits. Is this your most recent trip to the supermarket? Going to the grocery store will show you, Janet, that inflation is here to stay, and this woman is completely disconnected from the reality faced by the average American. I believe we will eventually push towards hyperinflation, and that more consumer protections for buy now, pay later transactions will be implemented. Things are only going to get worse from here. This was sent by Mr. Man. After the next video, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel.